Welcome to my Polity videos. Please watch my videos in full vertical screen. Free PDF link is given in description. Article 36 and Article 37. ఈ వీడియోస్లో మనం Article 36 and Article 37 చూస్తాం. 36 is nothing but definition. In this part, the state has the same meaning as in part 3. అంటే మనం ఫండమెంటల్ రైట్స్లో ఆర్టికల్ 12లో ఎలాగైతే స్టేట్ యొక్క డెఫినేషన్ చూసామో ద సేమ్ మీనింగ్ ఇక్కడ కూడా వర్తిస్తుందని చెప్తున్నారు. సో దట్ ఈస్ Article 36. Now Article 37. Application of the principles contained in this part. Application of principles contained in this part 37 important. The provisions contained in this part shall not be enforceable in any court. It is given by the constitution in article 37 that the provisions contained in this part అంటే part 4లో ఉన్న provisions ఏవి కూడా shall not be enforceable by any court అంటే ఇవి ప్రిన్సిపల్స్ పాటించండి అని ఏ కోర్టు కూడా ఫోర్స్ చేయకూడదు. shall not be enforceable by any court, but the principles are fundamental in the governance of the country. This terminology is very important. Fundamental in the governance of the country, and it shall be the duty of the state to apply these principles in making laws. So it is the duty of the state to apply these principles in making the laws. Whether to follow the duty or not to follow the duty, it's up to the state and incumbent government. But the principles are fundamental in the governance of the country. ఇవి పాటిస్తే ఈ రూల్స్ ఈ డైరెక్టివ్ ప్రిన్సిపల్స్ పాటించాలి because they are fundamental. But they shall not be enforceable by any court. అది మళ్ళీ గవర్నమెంట్ ఇష్టం whether to follow these principles or not. But Article 37 is saying that first point, they shall not be enforceable in any court. Second point, these principles are fundamental in the governance of the country. Next point, it shall be the duty of the state to apply these principles in making laws. So three important statements were given by 37 article. Once again I am repeating, they shall not be enforceable by any court. That is the first statement. Second statement is these principles are fundamental in the governance of the country. Third statement is it shall be the duty of the state to apply these principles in making laws. So that is Article 37. Some questions. Directive principles of state policy are justiciable, non-justiciable, fundamental rights, none of the above. Non-justiciable because they cannot be enforced by any court as per Article 37. According to the Constitution of India, which of the following are fundamental for the governance of the country? Directive principles of the state policy are fundamental for the governance of the country. That is Article 37. Article 37 is saying that these principles are fundamental in the governance of the country. These principles are fundamental in the governance of the country. That is being said by Article 37 directly. Now, consider the following statements with reference to the Constitution of India. The directive principles of the state policy constitute limitations upon legislative function, executive function. These are not limitations. These are just directive principles. They will show you a good path. The legislature has to consider these principles and make laws. That's it. These doesn't limit any organization. These directive principles does not limit any functions. So answer is neither one or two. అంటే ఈ డైరెక్టివ్ ప్రిన్సిపల్స్ ఎవరిని కూడా లిమిట్ చేయవు. ఫండమెంటల్ రైట్స్ లిమిట్ చేస్తాయి స్టేట్ని. అంటే స్టేట్ ఎవరైనా రైట్స్ని హరించడానికి చట్టాలు చేస్తే ఫండమెంటల్ రైట్స్కి అది కుదరినప్పుడు కోర్ట్స్లోకి వెళ్తే దే విల్ ఎన్ఫోర్స్ దట్ ద ఫండమెంటల్ రైట్ ఈజ్ restored, and in that way the fundamental rights are the limitations on the tyranny of the state. But directive principles of state policy are not limitations upon any state or any organization. They are just principles which the state have to follow in making laws. They are fundamental. It shall be the duty of the state to apply these principles in making laws. They are fundamental in the governance of the country. So answer is neither one or two. Consider the following statements regarding directive principles of state policy. These principles spells out the socio-economic democracy in the country. Yes, మన ఇంట్రొడక్షన్లో చూసాం. These provisions contained in these principles are not enforceable by any court. Yes, Article 37 saying that these principles are not enforceable in any court. They shall not be enforced in any courts. Article 37. This we have seen in the introduction part. With reference to the provisions contained in Part 4 of the Constitution of India, which of the following statements are correct? They shall be enforceable by courts? No. They shall not be enforceable by any court? Yes, it is correct statement. The principles laid down in this part are to influence the making of law by the state. Yes, they are to influence. They give some influence to the state while making laws. చట్టాలు చేసేటప్పుడు కొంచెం ఈ ప్రిన్సిపల్స్ని ఫాలో అవ్వడానికి ఇన్ఫ్లుయెన్స్ చేస్తాయి అన్నమాట. ఆన్సర్ ఈస్ 2 and 3 because one is wrong. They are not enforceable by courts. How are the directive principles different from fundamental rights? And directive principles are not enforceable, whereas fundamental rights can be enforced by the courts. So this is Article 36 and 37.